Welcome to the Time Excellence Show, episode 108. Hi, I'm Douglas Calvin, and on the Time Excellence Show, we prospect for time, discovering nuggets of time opportunity to make more of a difference in your organization, your career, and your personal life. Today we have a great show. We've got 3 episodes, and I am excited to get into this content. You know, we are going to look at our future purpose, and how do we know what that is? What are the characteristics we look for? Then we're going to look at what we should do when opportunities appear. And finally, how to think bigger. Think bigger for those purpose, think bigger when we look toward the future. So we've got really a very packed show, and I'm excited to get going and to cover this important material. Question: are you ready for that huge opportunity? For that huge opportunity, considering we all live in this time-challenged world, don't we? When those opportunities come up, often we hesitate, often we don't see them, often we're just struggling to get done what we've got today and say, you know, we really don't have time for that new opportunity. And that's the subject of today. We're going to look at time excellence and how it might apply to those opportunities. To know your future purpose, blank. Well, to know your future purpose, you really need to know yourself. You need to look for tomorrow's purpose as an extension of who you are today. Well, that sounds pretty basic, but when was the last time you sat back and really looked at who you are? Looked at your unique talent sets. You know, what are those? You're unique. What do you know about those talent sets, and what is so important that you bring to the table of opportunity? You've had unique experiences, and those will play in your future. Those experiences, good and bad, will really give you a solid foundation for accomplishing things that matter most. Your unique perspectives will be useful in the future, and those challenges that you faced, even those failures. Yes, we all have those failures. We learn from those failures. We learn that those can be built upon, and we're not the only one failing on occasion. Others have experienced the same thing, and you know, we all make it through. So those unique challenges come to bat for us. Passions. What are you passionate about? Those play heavily. Those are your interest areas. Those are the things that you stay up at night thinking about, and you say, you know, I really want to make a difference here. A lot of things could go in that bucket, and you know what those are. And it goes on and on. You are unique. So if you look at your future purpose, know yourself. Now, we're going to look at a story that reflects that. You know, we're going to consider Molly's story. Well, Molly Oliver, she's one that I would say really knows herself. She is one that we might say has herself mapped out pretty well. Well, first off, she's a flight attendant and flies for a major airline, and is a senior member of that crew, and has basically seen it all. But above that, she would probably say, I am a dog lover. I love my animals, and I really, really, really spend a lot of time, there's that word, time, spend a lot of time there. And her mother had a lot of influence on that. She instilled lifelong values. In her Facebook, she noted some years ago she had lost her mother, and she made this comment in her Facebook account, talking to her mother. I thank you for my passion for flying, my efforts with rescue, and helping others. and she posted a photo with her mother who was holding two dogs. Well, that's pretty interesting because that statement that her mother left her is really what Molly is all about. She rescues dogs. There's a picture out of her Facebook that shows her with her latest dog. And some of them are senior dogs. She rescues those that may not really have a home. And her mother had a lot of influence on that. For years, she has helped rescue German Shepherds. And those large dogs, she helps them find families from whatever shelter they might be in, and then gets them to transport, arranges transport to get those dogs to their new home. So really making a lot of impact in those dogs' lives. And looking back, her mother instilled those efforts of rescue and those efforts of helping others. But it's just not animals. We also observe that she's a flight attendant, and a flight attendant with a heart. She had a passenger that flew into Los Angeles on one of her flights that she was attending and had to go to the hospital. And she went to see him because it was Christmas Day. And a coworker went earlier, and then she went and visited this man who was unfortunately stuck in a hospital with some medical condition on Christmas Day. So Molly went and visited him, brought him a little bit of cheer. And that says a lot about her to me. That says that she knows herself and she's out there helping not only dogs, but she's helping others. She knows who she is. And that's important. Do you know who you are? Do I know who I am? When is the last time you thought about that? Well, Molly gives us a great example of being able to look back and see exactly what we're about. We will return in just a moment. Time excellence, the key to making more of a difference today by maximizing time for organizational, career, and personal achievements. We invite you to join us for each episode of the Time Excellence Show to write an even brighter chapter in your life. One of hope, growth, and purpose. The Time Excellence Show, prospecting for time together. Time excellence, when opportunities appear, ... When opportunities appear, what do? We're running our life. We've got lots of schedules. We're rushing to appointments. Some of us work. Some of us have kids. Some of us are responsible for those that are ill. Some of us have a lot of recreation planned, etc., etc., etc. And so what we want to look at is when opportunities appear, what do we do? What is our makeup? So when opportunities appear, will you be ready? Will you be ready for that opportunity that builds on your unique self, your unique talents, who you are? So we want to look at opportunities, and we want to note that most often, if you think back, when opportunities came, they came at unexpected times. You weren't planning it. You don't want to say, wait, Tuesday, there is going to be a great example. I'm going to schedule in an opportunity on Tuesday. That's not the way it happens. Opportunities tend to come at unexpected times, and we need to be ready to act, especially when it's in our wheelhouse, especially when it's in our core competency, especially when it expands who we are. We need to be ready to act. Often unexpected, maybe even inconvenient. When has an opportunity come up and you said, "Oh, I was just sitting around waiting for something, and I am sure glad this opportunity came up. I am sure glad I was able to help you with a flat tire. I'm sure glad I got this new focus in my life that I'm going to help with the water in Africa. I am going to help poverty. I am going to help my grandchildren today," etc., etc. When these come up, they're often inconvenient. That's not necessarily a bad thing if we have an attitude expecting it, but when we're not expecting it, we haven't thought it through, this inconvenience may actually be a barrier. And we have to constantly keep alert. If we've got our head buried right into what we're doing that day, I am going to get these 3 things done and nothing's going to get in my way, we may drive right past the opportunity. We might hear it and it just goes right over our head. Have you ever been there? Have you ever looked back and said, "Boy, I really should have done something. That person needed my help. That was an opportunity. I could have said," I've been there. I could have sat down and just given that person some encouragement. I could have listened to that coworker. I could have given some advice to get them unstuck at work where there was a problem. One of my managers came up and discussed something, and I just didn't have time. I shushed them off. And really, that was a teachable moment. That was a mentoring moment. I think we've all been there and learned those situations. So we have to constantly keep alert for those opportunities. Well, when opportunity does appear, Molly gives us an example. Molly Oliver, a flight attendant, a lifelong dog lover, and a lifelong dog rescuer who has compassion for others, is one that gives us an example of what we might do when opportunities do appear. You see, she helped in rescue of dogs, and one time she was on a military flight, and she, as a flight attendant, would talk to the customers and would get to know them a little, make them feel comfortable, and was talking to a Marine. Well, it didn't take long because both the Marine and Molly are dog lovers. They both love dogs, and that conversation didn't take long to muster. And when it came up, he said that he was a dog handler. So in the military, a dog handler takes control of the dogs, and those dogs are specially trained for certain missions, including bomb detection, etc. And he had a need that he said, this dog that I started with, who is now in the hands of another handler, is about to retire. I really would like to adopt this dog. The military allows handlers to adopt dogs from the military. And Molly noted that he had a reputation for talking about this dog with everyone. He really, really, really missed this dog and really had a connection. And you can imagine in the military, those bonds are special. And he forged this deep, long-lasting friendship. And he said, and people around him said, you know, he never stops talking about Boone. The dog's name was Boone. And he told Molly, you know, there's no way, I'm in the military, there's no way for me to travel and pick up this dog that is going to be retired. He's going to be sitting there with no owner, and he didn't want anything else to happen to the dog or anyone else to take the dog. And from Molly's perspective, this was opportunity. This was right in her area of expertise, and out of nowhere, this opportunity prevailed itself. And so her reaction was simple. Quote, I told him I'd get his dog. I didn't know exactly how, but I knew I could make it happen. Wow, what a lesson we have here. Here, obviously, in her area of expertise, in her background, she found a need of a person and didn't know how it was going to be, but committed right there. When is the last time you committed and didn't really know how you were going to get it done? When that opportunity came up, it says, seize that opportunity. I'm going to go after it. I knew I could make it happen. I didn't know exactly how. So Molly shows us that she was ready to act. And that's something that I really appreciate about Molly, that she knew herself, and when that opportunity appeared on that flight out of nowhere, just working a normal day, the opportunity appeared and she committed right there. That's impressive. I think we can all learn from that. We will be right back. Time excellence, maximizing our time to make more of a difference through game-changing organizational, career, and personal growth. Take the next step. Save your spot in our free Time Excellence Training webinar, revealing the 3 phases and 7 steps to your new tomorrow at douglascalvin.com/webinar. Time excellence. Bigger than what? Think bigger than ... We're all challenged to think bigger. And what I would recommend is that we think better and bigger and broader than what we think we can do. When we look at where we've come from and the opportunities that approach us, how can we think bigger for the future? Well, a couple tips to get there. One is that think of the impact that you can have more than you can currently imagine you can get done. If you're thinking of the future and it's bigger than you, that's a good thing. And we want to think big. We have been brought along this life path, and we often underestimate the power and the impact of others. Now, you may not impact the world. You may impact a family. You may impact your students at school. You may impact coworkers. You may impact a business. But that positive impact feeds others and gets us into a state that we are making more of a difference in people's lives. You know, we need to think about the impact that we can have and not worry about the resources that may not be obvious. We may not know where things are coming from. It may be bigger than we are, more funds than we have. It's a vision that's broader, but if it's not obvious, still get that vision. Go for it, because when you get there and it's a compelling story, you can find that this vision can be portable and moved to other people and other organizations, and they can join you in your path. Think big, such that there's no way you can see how you would have enough time to accomplish what you're thinking. There's no time. If you work 24 hours a day, you say, there's no way I could get that done. Now we're getting somewhere. Don't worry at this point when you're talking about vision, when you're talking about impacting others. Think big. When you're taking your organization from point A to point B, think big. Don't try and figure it all out right now. There are tools and techniques we'll talk about, and there are leverages that will come into this vision. If it's a solid vision and it's a compelling story, there are all kinds of avenues of solving these shortcomings that we see today into fruition. If you are doing that, if you're looking at impacting more than you can imagine, if you're not worried about the resources right now and don't have it figured out, if there is no way you can see you'd have enough time for the vision that's in your mind, you know what? You're probably getting closer to the right vision. You're probably getting where you need to be. And that's a fun thing. Well, let's look at an example of thinking big, where Molly grows. Molly Oliver, flight attendant, lifelong dog lover, and rescuer, and one that was offered an unexpected opportunity to help military dog handlers adopt their dogs when that dog is retired. So Molly says this, speaking of a military dog handler that she had just helped, quote unquote, being able to make a difference in his life by saying thank you for defending our country is priceless. I like that. Is priceless. Being able to make a difference in the lives of other people is priceless. Now, she had traveled the world. She was a flight attendant. She had seen and met people. She had impacted people. She was a people person in what she does as a flight attendant. But right here she says, being able to make a difference for these few military dog handlers is priceless. When is the last time you said and recognized things that you were doing were priceless? Hey, you're doing them. I'll guarantee you. And the question is, how can we be able to make more of a difference? And Molly is showing us one example. And she goes on. And the challenges of helping other dogs are endless. Wow. Now there is a mission. When you look at a objective, a goal, a vision of whatever, your business, your career, your personal life, and that objective is endless, then you know that you're not going to run out of challenge. You know that everything you're putting into it will be of use. It's somewhat like world hunger. It's someone like water in Africa, clean water. It's somewhat like all those that challenge is bigger than you are. And that is a good thing. That is a thing that says this is really, really, really needed. And it's necessary for us. And we want to think big. We want to go after that. So Molly has sat back and said, wow, she has got coverage on NBC News. She has had coverage of various news stories around the land. And here this person that was just helping out one Marine is now faced with this opportunity to do more, to think bigger than she ever did. So she is creating a nonprofit called Mum's Dogs, M-U-M-S, Dogs. That stands for Molly's United Military Service Dogs. Molly's United Military Service Dogs. And it's dedicated to helping bring retired military working dogs together with their former handlers. Very focused. Now, to my knowledge, it's still in process of putting that organization together. It's got a name, and it's just a matter of getting it together. And Molly is thinking big. Molly is growing. And more importantly, she is acting on it. She's taking that interruption. She's taking that unexpected challenge. She's taking what she has built over the years, the passion, the experience, the connections, and she's acting on it. I really get inspired by considering how Molly is growing and thinking bigger than she ever thought, and taking that lead on to the next level. So let's bring that into our world. Our challenge, our individual challenge, is not to be perfect. It's not to have all the resources in the world. It's not to compare ourselves with others. Our challenge is to use our time opportunities the best way that we can. Yes, we are all given different circumstances. We're all given different levels of expertise, passions, etc. It's who we are. And we are to take that and do the best we can with it. And we're to apply the simple principles and the beliefs that we have and move forward in that goal. That's important. So what actions can we consider? Well, let's consider 3 actions plus the 4th one that we always consider. First, take time and list out who you are. You just get a blank sheet of paper. I know blank sheets of paper can be somewhat scary. Those can be intimidating to get that blank sheet of paper. Hey, list your skills. What's 3 to 5 things that you're really skilled? List your education. What have you learned in any way? What have you learned in any form whatsoever? What are your passions? What keeps you up at night? What life events would you say impact who you are? What advice did you get? What mentoring did you get? What opportunities, what difficulties really make you who you are? List those out so you get a full understanding of who you are, because it's that will probably carry you forward into your next purpose, or a higher level of the same purpose that you've had for years. Action 2. Do you notice life's opportunities when they appear? Or are you going so fast and so tunnel focused, like I know I have in the past, that I miss them, or I pass them up knowingly? I don't have time for that. I'm going to pass that one up. Well, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe those things you should stop and explore a little deeper. That could be the next biggest opportunity waiting to happen. If you don't notice these, what might you do differently so that you can notice them and at least make a conscious decision? So number 2, do you notice those life opportunities? And if not, what differently can you do? Number 3, when you look at making more of a difference in the future, do you think big? Or are you constrained to these small ideas that aren't really inspirational? Think back. Have you thought about writing that book? Have you thought about helping a need? Have you thought about donating time? Have you thought about that crushing life experience that you have? Have you thought about helping others that are going through similar situations that you could impact? Well, do you think big? Ask yourself that. Put a yes or no on that sheet of paper and think about, how might I get a little bigger in my thoughts? And action 4 today, which is always an action, just take one more step forward to improve your time excellence. Just one more step. Go one more step in that, and over time you will see things smoothing out, getting a little smoother. No matter what your situation, you can improve. And that one step is the next step towards your goal of time excellence, where you have enough time, where you're getting done what you want to get done in your unique life. So continually take that step. Keep listening to these, because these nuggets of concepts really can take you to another level. Remember to visit us at douglascalvin.com. And there's a lot of free information there. You can contact me, ask me anything. There's my business contact, douglascalvin.com/chronalysis. And you can just click the link. It'll just take you there to our Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and podcasts on iTunes. Go look up the Time Excellence Show on iTunes. I think you'll enjoy it. Remember to join us. Join together, comment, share, retweet, friend, thumbs up, all those actions. Purchase something from us, from our affiliates. All those get us on the news feeds and get it to more people. That's free information that you've just listened to is able to be used by others. Time excellence. Maximize your time to make more of a difference. I am Douglas Calvin with DouglasCalvin.com. I really appreciate you joining today. And until next time, goodbye.